Hello, and welcome to our fourth episode of Hear Her Story podcast. I am Laney Forsmann, and this podcast is where we get to listen to local women in our community share their stories about how they are working in the sport industry. Today, I am being joined by Butler. Ann, would you like to introduce yourself a little?
Sure.
Today?
Yeah, I'm Ann Butler. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the city of Pocatello. I've been exactly where you're sitting today, Laney. I started my education at Idaho State University, bachelor's degree in the College of Business, in business management and finance, and then was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, if I went for an MBA, if I wanted to do something else, and a friend of mine just said, hey, you'd be perfect for this, and so I came up here as a graduate teaching assistant. So I have a master's degree in athletic administration and MPE, so I'm excited to be here today and talk to you guys and just kind of share my story, and hopefully it means something to somebody else.
Yeah. I think it's kind of been a consistent thing over the last few episodes. A lot of other women that come to speak have done this athletic administration program, so it's kind of cool to hear their story and how they went through that. Before we get started, do you just want to share a little bit about what you do for the city and Parks and Rec? Any projects that you're working on currently?
Sure. So really my role is the administration of a lot of different divisions, a lot of different type of projects. So, we have a team sports division, an outdoor rec division. We run the community rec center and the Ross Park swimming pool. It also includes things you wouldn't think of, maybe like the zoo or the cemetery. Both of those are included under my purview. And then, of course, the bigger side of that is our parks division. So I've been the director almost 3 years, and we've had some really cool projects in the last 3 years. My project for this year is to build a new clubhouse at Riverside Golf Course. So last year we built a skate park at Optimus Skate Park. The year before that, we put in pickleball courts and some water slides and a splash pad and renovated one of our biggest ADA playgrounds. We've had a lot of really cool projects, but my focus for this year will definitely be Riverside Clubhouse and then probably some improvements in our parks. We do need to replace a lot of our playgrounds, so
Gotcha.
That'll probably be a focus for me as well.
So as the Parks and Rec director, how would you describe yourself as you lead all the people that you work with? How does that affect your work?
I think the biggest thing is we have a variety of skill sets in the department. Everyone kind of has that niche of the things that they enjoy, and that's why they're there. And so really my role in that is to bring people to the table I always try to bring people to the table that have different strengths or weaknesses that I have, right? Because we all have different ones. And so for me, if I know this is a weakness for me, how can I gain that or learn from others? And so everyone on our team has different strengths and weaknesses, and we're all trying to improve. And so that's really how I kind of focus on leading the team, is finding those strengths and weaknesses and what we can do to improve and where we can learn from somebody else.
Yeah, I feel like delegation is a huge part of leadership when it comes to that. I probably struggle with it more than I would like to, but it is a really good leadership skill to have. Along with that, has there been any challenges that you've encountered throughout your years? It doesn't even have to be in this role, but as a woman in sport, what has been a challenge and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest thing for me is just knowing that there's situations that are positive and there's situations that can be pretty negative. And so for me, it's how I approach those type of challenges and what I can learn from them, because definitely I'm not perfect and I'm going to make mistakes. And those mistakes happen, but I try to focus on what I can learn from those mistakes that really makes me better or makes the organization better or makes our team better. But I can't think of any maybe specific challenge at the moment, but for me it's always just what can I glean from that situation, because not every project we have goes perfect, or you go, that didn't work out quite the way I wanted it to. But it's just a matter of kind of figuring out the best way to move forward.
Yeah, I can't remember who told me this, but I was watching something or someone told me that if you had to choose from either just reliving all of your successes or all of your failures. You should choose your failures because that's how you get to like where you are now. And I think, yeah, you just got to take it day by day. You got to take what you got, use what you've learned to figure out the next issue or problem that you may have. So when it comes to inclusion in sport, what does that look like for you in your job that you have now?
Sure. So Parks and Recreation can go in a lot of different directions. We have very competitive programs, and we have entry-level programs. We have beginner programs. So we're always looking to be able to fit everyone into the things that we're doing in some way, because really that's what Parks and Rec is kind of built for, is to allow opportunities for people that they might not have otherwise at an affordable rate. The other component of inclusion for us is everything that we do, every project that I work on, every facility that we own needs to be accessible to everyone. And so, ADA comes into play a lot. We need to make sure things are accessible, whether that's a ramp or another way to get them in. Sometimes it's a way to get them into a swimming pool or access point at our pickleball courts, for example. We had a sidewalk to the pavilion. We had a sidewalk in a few other places. We knew we needed to connect. And then we had to think about, gates and openings like that. How do we allow people to get in and out that might just need a little extra help there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you on that ADA compliance stuff. Do you guys maybe even have like special leagues for like people with disabilities or not?
It really just varies. We are always looking for opportunities. Actually, there is a female that I met with about a month ago. My outdoor rec manager and I met with her. She is organizing an adaptive sports program. It's a non-for-profit, and we will basically we'll go in together and work on that through an MOU and say we support what you're doing and what opportunities can we help with. And then sometime what that looks like is they'll bring the adaptive equipment to the table that's really expensive.
Okay, yeah.
And then they'll work with our staff. Either sometimes it's a special class or an opportunity, and sometimes it's just in our regular programming because we can allow, everybody could do that together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The other thing I want to touch about when it comes to inclusion is like the price tag on all these things. Sport and recreation is getting really expensive these days. How are you guys battling that?
It is getting more expensive. The price of everything's going up. We're always looking to offset costs in different ways, whether that's a sponsorship with a local business or subsidy through another avenue. We use a variety, but really the goal in Parks and Recreation is to allow anyone and everyone to participate that wants to. We have some waiver programs and things like that. We definitely want to make sure that kids get those opportunities if they want them. Mm-hmm. And then, your adult programs, some of those need to cover more of their costs. But for kids, we're always looking for those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. So Anne, is there anything that's kind of got your attention in the recent years of sport, or is there something within your job right now that excites you?
Sure. I look at kind of the things everyone else is seeing on TV, and naturally, the first thought for me is kind of like Caitlin Clark and what she did at the University of Iowa and in the WNBA. I think she's like the Michael Jordan of this generation for females, and she's doing it with class, but it's amazing how many people want to come see her play. And I saw her on TV. She's fantastic. The other thing I look at, coached a lot of fast pitch softball, and so I got to go to the AUSL game down in Salt Lake.
Oh wow!
Which is pretty amazing. It was the very best fast pitch softball I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool because you can see these women come out of the NCAA tournament and have a place to continue to play. I think there were 4 teams this year, and they're expanding to 6. They've even, I think, just this week named one of the teams to be at home in Salt Lake. So that's really cool. The Talons. So I'm excited to see how they play. I went there this summer. The tickets were literally $20 a piece, and you could walk in and sit wherever you wanted. And so I was sitting behind home plate, like 6 rows up, watching the best softball I've ever seen for $20. I'd have paid $150 for that seat. And so there were lots of little girls there. I mean, it was just really fun to watch the ability that they had. I was sitting next to an older lady, and I was just chatting with her, and she looked over at me and she said, "That's my granddaughter," and she pointed at the third baseman.
Wow.
And I was like, I've watched her on TV for a long time. It was just really fun to kind of see and understand. You know, it's a family event, and you can see that through the women's sports and organizations, that it really is about families and celebrating their success.
I've been seeing that. I can't speak a ton into softball, but I've been watching college and pro volleyball a little bit more, and the amount of like fan attraction that is bringing is awesome. You're seeing a lot more expansion. They're growing in their league and in their sizes, which is amazing. I know Nebraska volleyball is probably my favorite. They had to play a volleyball game in their football stadium because there was so many people that wanted to attend it. So it's really cool to see women's sport attracting that many people and attention. Like men's sports, like they do the same thing, but it's really cool to be watching women's sports evolve over time.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
It really has. Through your role in sport, has there been any big wins for you throughout your career? What's something that's been a major accomplishment for you?
Sure. You know, I think it's nice to see in the newspaper that people appreciate, you know, the venues or the things that we put together, the different facilities that we built or whatever. But truly the wins for me are kind of through people, you know. For example, we built a skate park last year at Optimist. That is something this community has desperately needed, and it is a group that is not, hasn't advocated as well maybe because it's not their thing.
Yeah.
So to have them come up to you and thank you, you know, when you see grown men in a skateboard park, because that's what they grew up doing, that's pretty cool, and they're telling you thank you for your help. Just little things, you know, through people is really where I get those wins. Like full circle moment for me was watching my nephew go down that water slide. That was really cool. So
yeah, no, it's awesome to like, it might be really hard in the moment too, you know, like you think, oh, like, I don't know if this is like actually going to work. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, you know? And so like seeing those wins after the fact and having people thank you is a big thing. I've been a coach for a few years now, and it gets tough at times, but when it really pays off is when the athletes come back or their parents even thank you through that. So as we wrap it up here, I just have the last few questions. When it comes to your legacy and what you want to leave behind for the community, what is it that you want to share with everyone?
Sure. You know, on the whole, I think it's, did we improve what we have? It doesn't even have to be something new, but did we make improvements that are better for the community? Did we make Pocatello a better place to live, work, play, all of those things? You know, it's really important to me. I think I'm the first female Parks and Rec director the city's ever had. I need to make sure that I do not just a good job, but a great job.
Yeah.
Because I can't be the last. I don't want to be the last, so I want to make sure I do a really great job. And you know, if we've left Pocatello a better place, then I think that I've succeeded.
Yeah, you are definitely paving the way for other women who may come up in this job, which is amazing, and I think you're doing a great job. So thank you for everything that you've done. One last thing, is there any other things that you want to leave with our listeners today? What's your mantra?
Sure. You know, I'd first say that build the team around you of good people. I wouldn't be here today without my staff, you know, both men and women. I do get to work with a lot of amazing women at the city, not even in my department, in other departments, but a lot of amazing men too. And so it's really just those people that work with me every day, believed in me, to teach me things, But it's really just kind of moving forward, taking those wins as you can get them, learning from your mistakes because you're going to make them. And kind of how you react to those mistakes is really kind of whether you're going to succeed or not. And so that's what I would say is learn from the mistakes and put people around you that are really good and fantastic and will teach you a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for coming out, Anne. It was amazing to hear your story. And I hope you all enjoyed too, listening to Anne's story. So this wraps up our fourth and final episode of Hear Her Story, where we got to listen to several women in our local community share their story about how they're shaping and paving the way for sport. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I did. I hope you took a lot out of what they had to share with us, and hopefully it's inspiring to you guys in your future career in sport as well. Once again, my name is Laney Forsmann, and this is Hear Her Story.